Yogesh sir,
Yes, ma'am.
start your presentation. Start your webinar.
Yeah, okay, ma'am. Uh, good evening, everyone. Uh, I'm very thankful to Career Education and all the team members and other members who are pursuing internship and uh, some other people who are present here on the Google Meet with me for this webinar. Uh, Today, it's my turn to share some knowledge about a topic which I have chosen. Chosen is the MERN stack. I will discuss about this tech stack and the basic things which are related to this and why we should choose this as a beginner because these days it's not so much efficient to something with uh, take something or buy something uh, to learn on the tech stack which uh, make for the beginners somehow difficult thing. So let's start with this webinar. First of all, uh, I'm going to explain what this money stack stand for. This is simply a stack which is used for web development, as basically today people are using the internet more often than any time before. So for some marketing purpose or some or making everyone know about someone's idea, it's a good platform which is the web development to showcase something or some product anyone want to showcase it. So the MERN stack, it's the MERN. It stand for MongoDB, ExpressJS, React.js, Node.js, which altogether makes an efficient way to develop a website and which all based on JavaScript. So the first thing which comes in the MERN stack is the MongoDB. That the MongoDB is basically a NoSQL database which store data in JSON format, and it's all use like the thing which you generally learn about objects like JavaScript objects, or in C++ also there are classes and the objects which we use for some cause, and this is the all the same thing which which is being utilized by in MongoDB. So the basic idea about this is it's a NoSQL database, and so it's uh, basically in the SQL databases there are the tables which are being used for the storing data. But in this NoSQL database, we use the some pairwise, means like key value pairwise. uh, data pairs to represent it in like of JSON format. So I'm explaining a little bit more about it. So like about when we use this MongoDB, the basic thing about it is we have to use it in the backend part. Like the most often which in websites, people have to use some data which are used to be shown on to the users which will be using the website. So it's the uh, good thing to have a database which to use users data, which makes it more often for the websites to be uh, more known to the people. Like without the database, it's not that much considered as of much use. So like in MongoDB, firstly it's the code about like backend to connect the MongoDB data to the uh, server, which basically in MongoDB people use Atlas, which is a cloud-based platform to store some data, and it's for a beginner like people who starts coding and web development. It's a good thing to have this thing that they can use it for free, and for starting web development without without any charges. So it's firstly in this backend code we have to uh, require the mongoose, which is the MongoDB library, and after that connecting it to the server, that backend, which is basically like on Atlas, and then like in SQL, there are the tables which we have to define before storing some data. So it's a schema which has been defined in SQL databases is tables. So here in the NoSQL database in MongoDB, we have to define a schema which is like a JavaScript object, and for this here, let's I'm assuming a user schema which having a username and password, password both having a data type of string, and then afterwards it's like in C++ and JavaScript, like classes, they have a constructor. So likewise in the MongoDB databases, people means we have to define the constructor type, which use the mongoose model and defines the schema, and after that it's all about the getting some data by the users from the browser, which uh, defined in the user interface, and storing them in the database. So like in NoSQL database and SQL database, there's some difference in the format. Like, yeah, you can see the first one is MongoDB version, which is having some ID of its own to be used, and here the username and password, two fields which have been used for this key value pair, right, like structure. And in no SQL databases like in MySQL, there are other table like structure. That's mean we have to fix schema for that beforehand, and that's a table having some ID, name. These are the fields field which have been which are used to be filled when some data is passed to that table, that is email and the password, and likewise it is used to save the data in the SQL database. So the basic difference is here is in the structure form is this key value pair like structure, and in the SQL database it's the table structure. So the so some pros and cons are there for using the MongoDB database in the web development. So some of the pros of this are like high performance through indexing, like it provides some by default indexing for the data which have been mm, stored in the database, and it provides with dynamic schemas for the models, and the scalability of this Mongoose or MongoDB database is high because it doesn't use the same server for storing the database. It has as the data get filled in the database, it divides it on the different servers, and that's why the load on the servers is minimized, and it supports the auto replication, and in the MongoDB database, it's a, good thing that it uses like JSON format structure, which is used in the ODM, like or that object data modeling library, which is provided by the Mongoose, which again is a plus point when it is being used with front-end library that is React, which again comes in the with along with the MERN stack. So let's move uh, to the next part of it, which is Express.js, which is like in MERN, that E stands for the Express.js. So Express.js it's the basically the framework which is used to write some codes, which is make is easy to write some backend code with the MERN stack, which is on the utility that's the Node.js. So it's a web application framework which uses the Node.js. So in MERN stack applications, Express manages the API calls and the backend or say server uh, interferences which has been called, like is being made some request by the browser, or some sending some data to the front end through with some backend code which has been written. So let's dig in some more deeper into it. So here's a simple sample code which is being shown for the which is written on the for the backend using this Express framework. So in the MERN stack and in this technology, we basically have to require the packages, like Express is also comes with the package, as it is a framework, but we have to require it along with, and after that requiring the Express, it need to be uh, being utilized with the code which has been used with some routes, like for getting some data, or rendering some data to the user interface. So here's the some basic code, and after that it comes about the routing, which has been provided by this framework, like it's CRUD operations, like which are basically being used by the websites which are being used in today's uh, daily experiences in the web development. like get request, post request, put and delete request, which has been used in the browser or say user interface. It all being used with with some JSON format or ODM uh, formats which has been utilized with the help of Express. So after that, the third things comes in the list is the React, which is the front end library again, which comes along the MERN stack. And there have been also some other libraries before it which has been very popular, like Vue or Angular. That React basically being developed by the some Facebook software developers for their own use for Facebook. Like they used to render the data like everyone today or beforehand some years ago also, the people using the Facebook on a very vast scale. So it's uh, it's basically implemented for their own purpose for the Facebook in 2011. But after some years it has been uh, made open source for everyone to use it and contribute to it uh, along with along their experiences if they feel so, if they found some bugs or say some they have other suggestions for it. So this had been being made open source. So the React.js basically works with the thing that uses the components system, which uh, like if the taking example like Facebook, like there's a news feed and the other steps, other things also. But as we scroll down on the news feed, so after some time, when we reach the down and all the feeds which has been rendered had been seen, then it again renders the new feed, which again doesn't change the other components of the web browser. It only changes the news feed. So in React.js, it works on the component like thing, and the news feed is a separate component for the that web page or user interface, and that's only thing which has been changed when the page gets refreshed. And the other thing about it is that it works or it utilizes the ODM feature that makes it more popular in the current scenarios in the web development field. So after that, there comes the N of the MERN, that is Node.js. So basically, it is a technology which is being used to write the. It's a utility to write the backend code, which provides an environment for the JavaScript code to be written, and then it makes easier to communicate with the backend and the front end and with along with the database. With as there only one language which has been used in this in all things, which is the JavaScript. So Node.js is also uh, built on using the JavaScript, and it it is used for that backend purpose. So also other thing about this Node is that it provides with some cross-platform uh, functionality, like in Windows and Node, in Windows or Linux, it supports both of them. So that's why it makes some more sense to use. And utilizes for the web development. And after that, it after some more digging in more into it, like here comes like initializing that npm package, as there are more and more packages like present on the websites and the internet regarding this node. There other things which makes it more popular, like so, because of the big community around it working with Node.js and the contribution made by the people. After it all, uh, let's uh, let's have a look about combining these all technologies. So here the MERN in MERN stacks, M stands for MongoDB, E for Express, R for React, and N for Node.js. So first of all, talking about the React, it's the user interface uh, providing the library which is being used on the browser. Basically, it's the on the front end side, which if we are using that website which has been built on the MERN stack. So if we are on the browser, then it's the React on the browser, which or say interface, which user is uh, uh, working with or making use of it. Then after that, as he some clicks some button or needs some data, or that the browser sends some request to the backend, it comes along with the node, which is the backend, which have the backend code to talk with the server and the database. That request has been passed to the uh, Node.js, and that talks with the server, which along with the help of the Express servers, and that on getting some data from the database, that's the MongoDB, and that has been passed to the server, and that again passed to the backend, that the Node.js, and that sends it to the front end in the JSON format, which has been rendered on the browser. So it's all about some JSON format data which is being used to pass on, and in the React library that is being used on the front end in the browser, only the specific component which has been asked to change, that data will be uh, rendered with the update which is being asked for. After that, let's talk about some authorization which is being also talked in this current 2D scenarios, which has some more preference for the users, like to make their data which they are using on the websites, so more made some more secure. So that's the feature come for the data protection, that's authorization. So basically in the MERN stack, there with the help of Node, there are different packages which has been used to for the authorization purpose, like bcrypt packages, and some passport.js, which comes along for the sessions and the cookies purpose to be stored on the browser for the better authentication purposes, and uh, faster user experiences, which is being implemented along with. So basically, the this MERN stack is uh, better thing for the beginners which who are looking to dig into the web development, because the main thing about it is that for becoming uh, experienced one in this MERN stack, the student who is learning, or the beginner, someone who is starting with it, he only have to bring some experience or a little bit of knowledge of JavaScript only, because it all needs uh, all uses the JavaScript as on the front end, on the back end, and along with the database formats. So for the beginner, the things which has to be learned for the to learn more, all about the MERN stack is about starting with the fundamentals of the web, and how it works, and then it's basically a roadmap to how to start and how to move forward with the MERN stack. So afterwards, that's the one needs to learn some more about HTML and the basics about it. And after that, the part comes about the designing that comes with the CSS, and after that JavaScript to make the responsiveness of the user interface, and all the codes on the front end in this monostack and back end, and the database side for other purpose, like after developing some websites or some basic things. It's the time to showcase the thing which one learned about this. For that, one must be familiar with the Git and GitHub. And after this, next thing to learn is about the backend fundamentals about the HTTPs. And after that, uh, the Node.js, like along with the Express, some basic backend code which is being used for the running a simple backend server. And after that, next thing to learn is the MongoDB, and after that, it comes for digging more into it, like providing some authentication and authorization things in on the browser, which makes it more secure for others, and uh, more efficient, along with to the users to use it. And after that, the last thing which comes, second last thing that comes with the React, using the React libraries and learning about it. Although it is a JavaScript library, but it itself have some more things to learn along with it, for like components and states, uh, all that. And after that, uh, that's all. Which after learning all these things, it's all about managing that the code which you have been implemented, and showing it to the world with like using for backend, like Heroku, which is popular for the beginners to use, and for the MongoDB, it's the Atlas, and to use for backend, for front end purpose, there's the Netlify, which is being used on a large scale in these days. So one can use all this. And let's see all the some other alternatives of the MERN stack, which has been more popular along with this MERN stack. So these are the the Maven stack and the Mean stack has been more has other popular things, which has technologies which have been used before the MERN stack, which basically having all the things from the MERN. The only thing is change in these two technologies is the front end library, which is the Vue in the Maven stack, and the Angular in the main stack, and all other things like MongoDB, Express, and the Node has been same in these both two. So in these days, the more people are being attracted to the React, as it is has been. becoming more popular. But along with it, there are other options also, like using with Angular and Vue. So at last, the conclusion part is that it's not so much easy for a beginner to being an experienced with the web development, but with this MERN stack, it's somehow a easy part because of learning a single language, which is JavaScript, and which is being used in the front end, in the back end, and along with the database handling. The same JavaScript classes and the objects like structure has been used. So it's a plus point for the beginner to learn and explore around it. So that's all about my webinar. I would like to thank everyone which who are present uh, along with me and watching and listening me. So yeah, thank you everyone once again. Ma'am.
Yes, Yogesh sir. Thank you so much. Very nice webinar.
Yeah, ma'am.
Hello. Okay. So now everyone fill the attendance form, then left the meet. Okay. And I will share the YouTube link. uh, ठीक है, तो उस पर आप लोग लाइक एंड कमेंट प्लीज कर देना। जो इसका जो योगेश सर का वेबिनार था वो नाइट में यूट्यूब पर अपलोड हो, उस पर यूट्यूब पर जाकर वो लाइक एंड कमेंट कर देना। ठीक है। ओजस्विनी अटेंडेंस फॉर्म, ओजस्विनी अटेंडेंस फॉर्म सेंड करो। हेलो।
Ma'am, can I share the same link in the chat box?
जी।
Hello?
हेलो।
Hello, ma'am, can I share the same link of attendance form in the chat box?
Yes, surely, Riddhi.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, and everyone left the meet. Okay, thank you so much, everyone. Good night.